But this part I'm about to talk to you about, in my opinion, without question, I know is a secret for our business, and it's worked time and time and time again for 8.5 years straight. So what I'm about to share with you guys, I really believe is the key to unlocking your business. And when we learned this, and after having long talks with Byron back in the day, when we learned this strategy, guys, there was about the first year I didn't sleep. And so we've been fortunate enough with this strategy to go IMD twice, and obviously working on something right now. And so when we learned this, it's called the Law of the 100. It's called the Law of the 100, and the thing that I like best about this business is obviously driving depth. And so if you can pull up the PowerPoint, please. Oh, I got it, okay. Driving depth. And driving depth is the essential thing that I think is the most important thing about this business. When Troy and I, anytime our business comes to like a stalemate or a stall, I get that uneasy feeling because I know exactly what we got to do. We got to get to the bottom of that leg and go drive depth. And how many new folks we got out there today? Welcome. This is what I mean about driving depth. Obviously, everybody in here knows we have two teams. But what we're going to do, and again, it's about driving depth in those two teams. But what I'm going to show you today is about driving depth in one leg. And the thing I love about this presentation, when we went IMD in our second spot, Troy literally documented everything. So now we can show you verbally and visually exactly how we did that. And we did this about 4 or 5 years ago, and what happened is we had a leg that was completely blown out, and I want to show you what we did in the other leg. We started putting in personals, and for you new folks, on the outside leg, okay? So we started driving depth in these legs. 1, 2, 3, and it's the law of the 100. Again, 1, 2, 3 in depth, 4 in depth, 5 in depth, okay? And for some of you, you'll put 3 in, you'll put 4 in, and it's kind of like a chicken sitting on the eggs. You're waiting for the eggs to hatch. They're not hatching. And a lot of people, I've heard some questions this weekend, how do you motivate your people? You don't. Here's how you motivate them. You drive depth under them. And we've done this a million times. We start driving depth, and guess what we're doing here? We're texting all these people, congratulations on the growth of your business. Congratulations on the growth of your business. So for you new folks, 1, 2, 3 in depth. If this person comes in, number 3 brings this person in, that's not 4 in depth. You're still at 3 in depth, if that makes sense. So as you're rocking along here, and one thing I want to point out to you new folks, and I know I'm preaching to the choir to a lot of you folks, but if we're rocking along here and we're texting them, because I've had this a lot of times, we're driving depth, and number 3 calls and says, hey, would you please put somebody on the inside of my leg? What would be your answer? Absolutely not. I don't care if this is a family member or whatever. I'll go spend time with them all day long with their personals, but I want to drive depth. So we started driving depth in the leg, and again, the number 3 puts in a couple. You're still 3 in depth there. Now you're at 4. Now you're at 5. And so what we do, we started working this deal. We put 5 in on that leg. No one was doing anything. So what do we always go back to? These are obviously 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, travel parties, and big shot meetings. And we do it over and over and over and over again. So we are 5 in depth. We're rocking along. Called Troy and said, hey man, we got to put in some more personals. So we start putting in personals. We put in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At 10, nothing. Nobody's doing anything. And then some of you, you'll call me and say, man, I put in 4 or 5, this thing just ain't working. You got to keep digging. We're in the state of Texas here, and if I told you that just right around the corner was the biggest oil gusher of all time, would you keep digging? Would you keep digging? Would you keep digging? That's what we do, and that's what we've learned time and time again. So we kept digging. We're at 10, nothing happened. Nothing's going on. So what do? We go to this right here. 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, travel parties, travel parties, travel parties, big shot meeting, over and over and over again. See, it's a combination of all this stuff. What do we do next? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 personals in depth. Guess what was going on? Not a thing. And some of you might be saying, this thing don't work. And it's just like that oil rig, man. I'm going to keep digging. I'm going to keep digging. And guess what Troy and I are doing here? We're getting real excited. We're getting real excited because that match, you know, we're about to turn that sucker upside down and watch the flames come up. So we keep digging. So at 20, nothing going on. What'd we do? 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, travel parties, big shot meetings, over and over and over again. Because here's what's happening, guys. I hope every one of y'all don't fall into what we call the training hangover. We're all excited, an unbelievable start to the day, and we're all excited, just went to lunch, we're pumped up, but all this stuff that you learned today, if your calendar's not full when you leave here, here's what happens. All that excitement is going to start going down about Wednesday if you're not doing anything. So again, we kept going, 25, 26, 27, 28, straight down that leg. 30 people, guess what? Nothing. Did we stop? We kept going. What did we do? This right here. Over. I hope you're getting this. 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, travel parties, over and over and over again. We're getting excited now because we're getting 30 deep in the leg. Watch what happens. 37, 38, 39, 42 in personals. This is about 2.5 months to this point. Guess what? We're getting real excited. And we did a thing. We prejudged someone and thought, man, we found the person. And man, this person led us to a person, and at 42 in depth, here's where it got cool. We knew it was like that match that you light. If you just light it and hold it up, it's going to go out. But if you turn that sucker upside down, like Troy says, it's like a flame that shoots up that leg. We're getting fired up. I mean, we're getting giddy because we know there's about to be explosion because we kept digging and digging and digging. What happened? This is what happened. 2.5 months. We were 42 in depth. Everybody get that? On that outside leg. But the total group was at 52. No one was doing anything. But what happened was we found someone that got excited. We kept digging. We kept digging. What'd we do? 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, travel parties, big shot meetings. And guess what? We just kept doing them faster and faster and faster. Here's what happened. We started rock and rolling here. 57, 58 personals, 59, 60, 61, 62. We went and looked in the leg. This was just 2.5 months later. Okay? The flame got hot. It went shooting up that leg, and this is what happened. At 62 in depth, and you can see this is an 8-track back office. This is an old one here. So at the time, in that position, we were rocking along, okay? We went to the position, and you could go back in your back office again, 1, 2. They used to have these gold medallions if you sponsored somebody. So at 62 in depth, we went and looked in the back office, Steven Siminovich at the time. We looked because we kept driving depth, kept looking for the one. 2.5 months later, that group was at 1,351. See, here's what we found in this business. In this business, activity cures all ills. You're one person away from being on an all-time high. Who that person is in 8.5 years, I can't tell you who that is. I've been fooled a lot of times, you know, but here's what I would tell you. You got to keep digging. You got to keep digging. You got to keep digging.